Salutations, I'm Walter Bernasiak, and this is Top 5. Here we count down the best and worst performances of our most beloved actors. Today, we're looking at the best of this guy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's Tom Cruise. There's no way around saying it. Tom Cruise is a legend. The 54-year-old is one of the last big movie stars around who still puts out consistent quality work. He may best be known for his action roles, but Cruise is actually a really good dramatic actor who has a very unique personality and screen presence. His newest, Jack Reacher Never Go Back, just hit theaters this past weekend, so now is as good of a time as any. Let's take a look at the top 5 best Tom Cruise performances. Number 5. Major William Cage in Edge of Tomorrow. Also known as Live, Die, Repeat, Edge of Tomorrow is an underappreciated actioner from 2014. I wasn't a believer until I saw it myself, but if you haven't seen it, I'd suggest checking it out. It's more than just an action version of Groundhog Day. Cruise puts in a great mix of physicality and really interesting character moments for him to work off of. Based on the Japanese light novel All You Need Is Kill, Edge of Tomorrow takes place on an Earth that has fallen under attack from seemingly invincible aliens. Major William Cage, an officer who hasn't ever fought a battle in the war, is suddenly tasked with being a part of the front lines to push back the alien invasion. He dies quickly but immediately wakes up the previous day and is forced to relive the battle over and over again until he finds another person who has experienced a similar occurrence. Cruise's character goes through a big arc here. He starts off as a bit of a coward, but slowly through the time loop that he experiences, he becomes a very skilled soldier and has to react to an unbelievable situation believably. For a movie that is all about repeating the same day, it feels fresh on many levels. Sergeant Rita Vertasky, played by Emily Blunt, also helps out this film by being a 100% badass. She has a good back and forth with Cruise that works both on the battlefield and in quieter moments.
You die here. Right here. I can't save you. And if I go on and kill the Omega, you're dead. Forever.
Why does it matter what happens to me?
This is a very strong performance from Tom. He gets a lot to do, and seeing him in his usual action mode while dealing with the effects of adapting to the time loop combines for one of his best. There is a sequel in development, so hopefully we'll get more of Bill Cage in the future. Number 4. Lieutenant Daniel Kaffee in A Few Good Men. This film, of course, contains one of the most famous quotes in movie history delivered by Jack Nicholson. Nicholson is fantastic in this and was nominated for an Oscar, but Cruise was also pretty good in this too. Written by Aaron Sorkin and based on his play, A Few Good Men follows Lieutenant Daniel Kaffee, a military lawyer, who is defending 2 U.S. Marines charged with murdering a fellow Corps member. Kaffee and his fellow councilmen think there is a conspiracy to cover up the truth behind the killing and dig deep into the U.S. military to find it. This is pretty much classic Tom Cruise. He's confident, a little cocky, a tad off the wall, but still charming as usual. He gets to show off some of his quirky comedic timing as well, which works out pretty well for this character.
Go see your wife, see your daughter Jo. Go do whatever it is you do when you're not here.
He eats breakfast 300 yards away from 4,000 Cubans that are trained to kill him.
Blending in with that personality is a strong backstory about his father, who was also a lawyer. That element leads to a few noteworthy scenes.
I think my father would have enjoyed seeing me graduate from law school. I think he would have liked that an awful lot.
The best parts of this movie are the scenes when Nicholson and Cruise exchange dialogue. They have some pretty good chemistry and their tension pops off the screen.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Sweet dreams, son.
Don't call me son. I'm a lawyer and an officer in the United States Navy. And you're under arrest, you son of a bitch.
Once again, this is a classic Tom Cruise movie with an iconic scene within it, and the performance that Tom Cruise gives is good enough for the number 4 spot on this list. Number 3, Vincent in Collateral. Tom changed his look up a bit for this role, and it's also a bit of a departure for him because he gets to play the bad guy. Max is an experienced cab driver with big plans for his future. When he picks up Vincent, he soon realizes he's in for the ride of his life. Vincent is a hitman who forces Max to drive around LA as he kills witnesses to a crime. Max tries to figure out how to stop him as the police start to pick up on their trail. This was a chance for Cruise to shine in a different way that we're used to seeing him. He killed it, literally and figuratively, as Vincent in this movie.
Yo, homie. That my briefcase?
What else you got for me? Huh?
We all know Cruise can do the action, but he's appropriately much more brutal in this. Jamie Foxx and Cruise make a nice on-screen team as they tensely debate about things even deeper than Cruise killing his victims. Vincent likes to get personal, and this pulls out uncomfortable facts about Foxx's character as they continue to analyze each other.
Someday my dream will come. One night you'll wake up and you'll discover it never happened. It's all turned around on you. It never will. Suddenly you are old. Didn't happen. It never will because you were never going to do it anyway.
It's very difficult to get a read on Vincent. You never know if he's telling the truth. That unknown quality kept me on the edge of my seat for the entire film. For the last act of this movie, Cruise basically becomes the Terminator, and it's something I never knew I wanted until I saw myself. Michael Mann directs another great two-person action drama with Collateral. If you haven't seen this one and you're a fan of his other films, I think you'll really be into it. Number 2, Ron Kovic in Born on the 4th of July. Based on the autobiography by the real Ron Kovic, this film features one of the 3 Oscar-nominated performances from Cruise. He gets to show off a lot of range in a film about a Vietnam War veteran who is paralyzed and comes back home to a country torn apart. Patriotic suburban New York teenager Ron Kovic enlists in the Marines right after high school and is sent to Vietnam. On his second tour, he accidentally kills a fellow soldier and later becomes paralyzed in battle. When he returns home to the States, he finds a nation that is split over the war. Slowly, his depression over his situation takes hold until he finds a purpose as an impassioned critic of the U.S.'s involvement in the Vietnam conflict. We first see Cruise as a high school student, and he portrays the youthful Kovic really well. He captures the awkward, nervous mannerisms of someone that young and in his position. We see his confusion through his conflict of staying home or going off to fight what he thinks is a war to save the world from communism. The Vietnam scenes are especially intense as Kovic sees the true horrors of war. Cruise realistically reacts to the instances of mayhem. This film shows just how badly Vietnam War veterans were treated upon returning home, and it gives Cruise something deep to tap into. We see Kovic's youthful optimism slowly fall away as he accepts his predicament and falls into a heartbreaking despair.
You tell her, Dad! Tell her! It's a lie! It's a fucking lie! There's no God. God is as dead as my legs. There's no God. There's no country. It's just me in this fucking wheelchair for the rest of my life.
This is not a glamorous part for Cruise to play. He gets down and dirty throughout the film, and we see this man at the absolute lowest low. By the way, Willem Dafoe pops up in this. He didn't even need that Green Goblin mask. The only thing that kept this out of the top spot is a couple times when Cruise kind of seemed like he was trying too hard. These parts don't last long, but they are noticeable upon a close inspection. In any case, Cruise really went all out in this movie and shows us a portrait of a man who hit rock bottom and crawled all the way back up. Tom Cruise is indeed a prolific actor and has a lot of memorable and iconic roles to his name. So, before we get to number 1, here are some honorable mentions. And the number 1 best Tom Cruise performance is Ethan Hunt in Mission Impossible 3. Hear me out on this. I'm not saying this is the best Mission Impossible movie, although it is a contender, but this is the best that Tom Cruise has been as Ethan Hunt. He's more refined as an actor than in 1 and 2 and gets to show a ton more emotion than he ever did in 4 or 5. MI3 starts with Ethan Hunt being retired from active duty as he's recently and happily engaged to his fiancée Julia. However, he's dragged back into the field when an old friend is captured. What ensues involves dangerous black market dealer Owen Davian threatening everything Ethan holds dear in the most violent ways possible. A microcosm of why this is Cruise's best performance is in the thrilling opening scene to this film. Check it out.
I want to help you get whatever you want. But you got to do what's right. What you know is right. No. No. No.
10.
Cruise isn't invincible in this like he is in 4 and 5. He has a lot to lose, and we see that urgency in him for most of the movie. This is also the most emotional the series has gotten. Cruise's scenes with his wife are well placed and add a lot of depth to Hunt. This all joins the standard action beats that we all love about the Mission Impossible movies, but ups the ante to the nth degree. Director J.J. Abrams really raised the stakes to a whole other level. This film doesn't take itself too seriously either, as there are a lot of funny moments that Cruise gets to be involved in.
Ho rotto io? Sì. Io? Tu. Hai rotto tu. Io. Hai rotto tu. Sta zitto. Sì, io ti ho rotto. Ma vaffanculo, no. Sta zitto, sta zitto. Ho capito, mi dispiace, ma sposta sto cazzo. Momento, È un casino anche per noi. Mi dispiace, fatevi un po' indietro e passiamo tutti. E basta. Mi dispiace, però sbrigati, insomma.
Got to mention how amazing Philip Seymour Hoffman is as the villain here. Definitely one of his best roles, as he plays the best bad guy in the Mission Impossible franchise. He is straight up scary.
I mean, you saw what I did to your little blonde friend at the factory, right? Oh, that was nothing. That was fun. That's fun.
Cruise gets to go up against that for a lot of the movie, and it makes for some powerful scenes.
I told you she called your name.
Ethan!
I think the combination of action, heart, emotion, and comedy equal Tom Cruise's #1 performance. Before I sign off today, I'd like to implore you to please help out cancer survivor and one of my friends, Barry Piotrowski. He beat Hodgkin's lymphoma a few years ago and was wrongfully abandoned by his health insurance company, left to pay all his medical bills by himself. Barry is also a professional wrestler, and I made a documentary about him a few years ago. You can help him by buying this shirt. The link is in the description below, along with a link to the trailer for the documentary. He's one of my closest friends and did not deserve what happened to him. Please help him out if you can. You'll get a cool shirt and you won't regret it. I want to hear what you guys think. What is your favorite Tom Cruise movie and or performance? Who do you want me to cover next on the show? Leave a comment and let me know. Follow me on Twitter at awesome_Walter and come back next week when we count down the top 5 worst Tom Cruise performances. See you then.